Let's keep the Wolves talk going. Shift gears a little bit, Reggie, to Coach Finch, because he picked up that well-deserved contract extension. We talked about that last week. But, Reggie, just tell me, how big of an impact has Coach Finch had in progressing, in developing this young, talented, filled roster?
Man, the team is like night and day from last year, right?
Yeah.
Like,
wild.
The talent was there last year, but they're putting it all together, and they have like the guy that is stirring the pot the right way, like, how you have like all the good ingredients. I just came back from Houston not too long ago. You got all the good ingredients to make a good gumbo, right? You got the chicken, you got the seafood, you got the okra, and like all that good stuff that's in there. You're like, these are great elements, great elements that should make a really good gumbo, but you need a good roux. You need that good roux. If you don't have a good roux, the gumbo is going to be trash, right? And I think Chris Finch, for lack of a better comparison, is the roux that stirs this gumbo all together, because they have reached the potential that, many fans have been waiting to see since Cat has been here. And he's saying the right things. He's doing the right things. He has the experience of a coach that is great for a young team. He seems to kind of give them a little bit of leeway to just kind of be themselves, but also be that disciplinarian in the fact that, he's able to steer things back in line when things are kind of going a little bit off script. And so I think he was just a perfect guy to come in here and really kind of right the ship. And it's evident seeing where they are right now.
Coach Finch came in with a nice, talented, young roster, but you're right, man. With that roux, he gave it that little chef's kiss, and it's been evident clearly his fingerprint that he's put on this team, no doubt. You caught up with him at yesterday's practice. He talked Karl-Anthony Towns. He talked Ja Morant. He previewed this series coming up Saturday, 2:30 tip-off against the Grizzlies. Let's check out 2 minutes of that here real quick.
You're playing a team like Memphis. They're very similar to you in terms of how deep they are. Is that a good matchup for you?
Yeah, I mean, they have one of the better benches in the league for sure. But we feel we do too. I think it's an intriguing part of the series is which second unit can kind of like take control of those minutes.
I think he was pressing maybe too much the other night.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, maybe a little bit. We knew what the defense was going to look like. I thought he had a couple opportunities that maybe he pressed on. I'm not worried about Cat. I'm really not. He'll be fine.
A lot of balance, especially whenever you look at your record against Memphis this year. Do you take anything away from your previous games going into this one, knowing that it is a long series?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we haven't played them 4 times, and we have a good feel what we think might work against them and what we might have to expect as an adjustment, and vice versa. So, yeah, I think playoff series has a little bit of a different animal. As things unfold, obviously it's about adjustments, but of course, I think we have a pretty good feel for who they are.
Just wanted to ask about Ja Morant, what you like about his game and the challenges of slowing him down.
Yeah, well, he's fearless, and that's what I love about him most. He's absolutely fearless. He's an offensive microcosm unto himself. He just lives in the heart of your defense in all the ways possible, transition and half court. It's just a total game changer. I think the biggest challenge for young teams in the playoffs is maintaining an even keel no matter what happens. Win or lose, the narrative swings so wildly in the media and everywhere else about what's just happened. There's always a lot of basketball left to play. You make your adjustments and you move on.
What was the response in practice today after Tuesday? You mentioned it was like a playoff game, was to get into the playoffs. So what's the response been like after that reaction getting a win?
Yeah, we didn't talk at all about the other night. Yesterday was an off day for us, so we were able to separate ourselves mentally from that. We enjoyed it very appropriately, I thought. And today we came back, focused on Memphis. All business, guys are excited. So piece by piece we'll be ready by Saturday.
We heard from Coach Finch there, and we've talked a lot about how the Grizz is going to game plan against Karl-Anthony Towns. But if you're Coach Finch, what's his game plan, just maybe from an X's and O's standpoint or however you want to look at it, whatever angle you want to take, Reggie, as far as how he's going to game plan against Ja Morant and the rest of the Grizzlies?
Man, Ja's gonna be Ja, right?
Right.
It was so funny yesterday. He was just like, we haven't changed. We're not ducking any smoke from anybody. And when you have that type of approach from a team and from their star player, their leader, it's like, man, watch out for them, And I think that's why it's going to be important for the Timberwolves to start fast. Because if they don't, it might get a little ugly quick, because when you're in Memphis and that crowd is roaring like that and you got Ja Morant playing at a high level, like the steamroll can come, And I think what's tough about that is game planning for Ja Morant is weird because it's like, yeah, okay, maybe you try to, game plan for him to be a jump shooter because he's not as well of a jump shooter as he is at attacking the basket. And maybe it's like, okay, maybe you do that. But then now you have to worry about not just his shooting ability, but now him kicking it out to other guys, getting other guys involved that are, we talked about Jaren Jackson Jr. on the defensive end, but like he's also a growing dangerous player on the offensive end as well. And I think that's going to be something that is going to really challenge Coach Finch. And we're going to see, like, okay, look, he's in the playoffs now. We're going now. This is like the biggest games of our careers at this point. Like we're gonna see what he can do as far as game planning in these critical games of this series.
I'm interested to see how they control the paint too, Reggie, because remember the Grizzlies averaged 57.6 points in the paint, easily the most in the league. But like you said, Ja's gonna Ja one way or another. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. My question is, when I look at just such a young, inexperienced roster, how important is it going to be for these guys to just settle down early, keep that even keel, and just go play basketball?
Very important. And Kat talked about this yesterday. Look, they saw what it's like to get punched in the mouth early and have to rebound. And so it's like, no, it wasn't necessarily a playoff game, but it was a postseason game and a game that really mattered to them and for their pursuits. And I think that game gave them some confidence that they can withstand a team's best blow and come back and still win the game. And it's funny. It's like, okay, look, if Memphis gets out to an early lead and all that, like they can channel that like, okay, we've been here before. We've seen this happen to us before, actually this week. And it's like, okay, what did we do this week? We had to dig down and settle in and play our game. And I think it's going to be important to not try to out Memphis. You know what I mean? Like,
no doubt.
Don't do what they do to try to keep up with them. D'Lo comes down and, some for better or for worse, he'll jack up that three, early on in the shot clock. Like, if that's his game, like, continue to keep doing your game. Whatever is making you comfortable, whatever continues to get you in a rhythm. And it's like, look, chip away at it. If you get down, I'm not saying they will, but, you chip away at it and then you come back and channel what it was that you saw from the Clippers and really kind of respond to whatever Memphis throws at you. But, look, they're an inexperienced team. It could be good and bad that they haven't been there before because with them not being there before, they're just like, look, we're just going out and hooping. You know what I mean? Like, we're just going to go out here and do our best and see what happens.
All right, wrapping up, T-Wolves again, tip-off 2:30 Saturday against the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies, by the way, red hot at home, winning their last 19 of 22. How about the NBA playoff picture, Reggie, as a whole? What are you looking forward to the most? And give me an NBA final playoff prediction.
Okay. All right.
Here we go.
Well, look, I'm looking forward to the games regardless, right? Like, NBA playoff basketball is lit. Like, it's a lot of fun.
Man.
Yeah, it's fun all the time. And I think I'm just looking forward to, like last year we had some really great games. Man, that series between the Nets and the Bucks, like, are you kidding? Like Durant, thinking that he won the game and his foot was on the line last year, like just hot fire, man. Like I'm here for it. To be the best, you got to beat the best, right?
No doubt.
And the Bucks are the reigning champions, and they, you know, you talk about the Heat, you talk about, you know, the Nets, and you know all those guys. It's like, look, you got to beat the Bucks. You got to go through Giannis again. And in the playoffs, when things slow down and you need a bucket and you need a basket, Giannis can go get you one. Middleton showed up fantastic last year. He was like the MVP if Giannis wasn't. And so I'm almost thinking that we might see a finals rematch, the Suns and the Bucks again, but I think I give the advantage to the Suns if Chris Paul is healthy.
Suns, Nets in 6. Count it. Done.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Kyrie.
I can see that.
Kyrie and Durant getting hot right at the last time. You mentioned it. To be the best, you got to beat the best. If they win this series against Boston, they're going to have so much momentum on their side. Nobody's going to want to play them. Obviously, it's a long shot. I put $10 down in Vegas. Man, that would net me $200, but long shot. But I'm excited to watch those Brooklyn Nets for sure. All right, plenty of Wolves talk that we just recapped. Again, shout out to Reggie getting us some great footage from yesterday's practice with Coach Finch and Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm looking forward to it. Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards, Cat. Don't forget about Bane, Jackson, Brooks, D'Angelo Russell. Remember, D'Lo, he dropped 30-plus in 3 games against the Grizzlies. He's going to be a key factor. Bane, 23, I mentioned it yesterday, a candidate for most improved player and one of the league's most lethal three-point players. So plenty of talent up and down both these teams. 2 small market teams, too, I think is really good for the NBA. Again, tip-off 2:30 Saturday. Rest assured, Reggie and I will be here Monday morning to recap all the action.